Welcome back to another episode. This is Layla, and today the topic is Sugar Baby LLC. What do I mean by that? First of all, I'm gonna make a disclaimer at the beginning. I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advising whatsoever. I always recommend getting the advice from experts, so tax expert, fiscalist, commercial lawyers, any professional, right? This is just going to be, I guess, a few pointers in the right direction, because I know that a lot of sugar babies are not aware that there are ways for them to protect their assets and money. And I don't think people realize how much money a sugar baby makes, depending on where you're located. A lot of sugar babies actually make more than a surgeon, a doctor. But the issue is most women don't have financial literacy. So usually what happens is they become a sugar baby and they just blow through their money. They just get all these expensive, designer stuff, but they're not really preoccupied about their future, the financial planning, if they want to own a house at some point in their life, because being a sugar baby is very temporary. And sometimes a sugar baby can get married, sometimes she doesn't. Like, it just, it's best to just have a very smart way of being in that industry, especially if it comes to you. This is not something that I was chasing. Like, I was just offered all the time these crazy things, and I was like, you know what, let me just do it professionally and use it to, level up and get the freedom that I want and the lifestyle that I want without, working for someone. And of course, there are many different ways to go through this industry. A lot of women, unfortunately, don't have high standards when they get into that, or they're very naive. And, your sugar daddy is not going to educate you on your self-love and your values. And and I know a lot of women think that they have to be intimate with sugar daddies, which is not the case. This is something that men created, not all of them, but some of them. And so of course, if a woman is very young and very naive and she's beautiful, the guy's not going to tell her like, hey, you don't have to like sleep with me. I was going to buy you that thing anyway, So, but this is going to be like a different episode about the standards and how to have boundaries and, really honoring yourself as a woman while you're being a sugar baby professionally. So now today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the financial aspect to it. So once again, the sugar daddy is not going to educate you financially, because let's just be honest, most of them are very insecure and they want you to depend on them, and so of course you can give them the illusion that you're depending on them. That's the point. But you cannot depend on them like entirely. First of all, you need to have more than one right away. You need to have at least 5. 7 is ideal, but let's just be realistic. Depending on where you live, 5 is perfect. All right, so let me just get hydrated. So it's so important to get educated about finances when it comes to being a sugar baby. So the first thing that a sugar baby needs to have is an LLC. Of course, there are many different ways to go about this. You can use the money to start your own business, which I think is the most important thing, because not everybody has the opportunity to start a business without like a loan or something, just like with money that someone just gives you like as a gift. Like it's a huge privilege. So you can use that to your own advantage. So of course, if you have a dream about, I don't know, like owning like a beauty salon for some reason, that's like a business that they love to invest in. So if that was already, in the cards for you, go ahead, and especially if you're trying to like improve your life and improve yourself, this is usually something that sugar daddies love to fund. You can even say that you need to get, a specific training. For example, if you're, in the beauty industry, and depending on where you live, sometimes it can be up to like 10 grand, And think about it. If you have five guys, 5 sugar daddies that give you 10 grand each, it goes up very quickly. So, of course, you need to have a company, a business. You can't just, I don't know, put that money in your closet. Like it has to be, in a company account. And that's why you need to have real expert advice. Sometimes you even have to invest in this type of advice, because you can't just go to like one tax expert. Sometimes you have to like talk to like 3 of them. Like always have different options and always ask the same questions to different people, because they're going to be able to, you know what I'm saying? Like if all the 3 of them are saying the same answer, then it's the right answer. You don't want to ask all those questions to your sugar daddy, because then it's going to be just very masculine. So what you can do, which is very smart, is to create a fake friend that does not exist. And you can say, oh, my friend, like, she wants to open like a trust fund, but she doesn't know how it works. And I don't know either, And so he's going to give you the advice for that friend. But you can still play, dumb, because because the thing is, if you start to ask all these questions to him, and let's say he works in finances, like he knows all the answers, he's going to think you're going to bounce soon, like you have to like be smarter than them. So like I said, create a fake friend, ask all these questions. Of course, the best thing is to have a sugar daddy that works as a banker or a tax expert or, a commercial lawyer, an attorney, because he's going to give you free knowledge, But like I said, it cannot be you. It has to be like a friend, a fake friend that does not exist, that needs advice. And it has to be like subtle. It has to be like random, not like I need to ask you some financial advice. Like, no, it's like you're out for dinner and you're like, oh my God, I had a call with my friend today and, she was talking, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Like it has to be subtle like that. But yeah, like get educated about what's a holdings account, an LLC, a trust fund, especially the irrevocable one. What's an incorporation, like, because there are different legal structures, like a different financial legal structures. So of course, like it's not just like a one answer for everybody, everyone has different goals and a different life. But when you are smart about it and you're instead of just buying designer purses, and if you're using a little bit of your money, first of all, you need to save a lot of it, because you just never know. Because sometimes men are not reliable, especially if you're not married to him. Like he's not obligated to give you an allowance each month. Like he can stop anytime he wants. So that's why you need to have 5, because at least if one stops, like your bills are still paid, you still have money saved, you still can keep up with your maintenance. So who cares, you can still hang out in these upscale places where you can replace them with someone else. So yeah, so these are just like pointers in the right direction, because of course there are many different ways to go with that, but in general, just to save money, to have a safe, of course, and find different ways to really make sure that you're also saving, you're investing as well, a part of it into yourself as well, like physically, but also financially for your financial future. And then at some point, you're going to be able to even purchase a home, especially if you're also working on your credit as well. So these are just ways to really set yourself up financially in the best possible way. And unfortunately, this is not something that's being taught to women. Men usually like to keep women guessing as well because they can stay in control. Of course, most of it is subconscious. Like, I don't think people like do it on purpose. I think it's just subconscious. Like, a lot of men are afraid of women and they want them to be this damsel in distress all the time. And so, yeah, so you have to play dumb, unfortunately. But at the same time, it's actually a sign of really high intelligence when you can pretend to be stupid and get all the information. And because people have their guard down because they think you're dumb, of course, not too dumb, but you know what I'm saying? Like, dumb in terms of like, whatever, like, you don't want to like compete with him in terms of like knowledge. And so, yeah, it's so important to keep this dynamic this way. So it's just harmonious, basically. That's what it is. And of course, another thing, I'm going to end with that. I noticed that a lot of sugar daddies ask if you have a savings account because they want to know if you're like done with your money. Basically, they want to know, is this woman just like spending and just not being responsible? They want to know if you're responsible. So the answer to that question is very simple, very easy. You're going to say that you do have a savings account with some money. He should not be asking how much money there is in it because that would be the same as if you're asking how much money there is on his bank account. Like, how tacky and rude, right? Like, it's so tacky and rude. So it's the same thing. Like, if someone asks you how much money you have in your savings account or in your bank account, like excuse me, like what? You can say like, I don't answer these types of questions, but these usually don't happen with established men. So if he's asking that question, you say you do have a savings account, yes, but you can say it's very hard to access. So you can even research the one that are like hard to access. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just go to the bank today and withdraw like money. Sometimes you have to fill like paperwork, you know what I'm, blah, blah, blah. So it has to be that type of savings account. So he knows that you can't just go, you know. So if you're having like this like fake problem, fake issue, you need his help. You know, you can't just go to that savings account. And of course, another way to have, you know, a sugar daddy give you more, like I said, to say that you need a certification for something that's going to improve your skills, your life, blah, blah. It has to be feminine, of course. So you can even say and lie and say like, oh, I'm going to like beauty school, blah, blah, blah. It's 10 grand. They're going to give it to you. Don't say like, I need 10 grand to get my boobs done. Because like, I mean, it depends. So man, if you already have an established relationship, that's like different, I guess. But yeah, not at the beginning. And also another way to have an allowance is to say, you know, because they can be like, oh, why is your car not fixed, or why blah, blah, blah. The excuse is always that you're helping your grandmother financially, right? It has to be because your mother, sometimes she's younger. He's going to be like, why isn't she doing blah, blah, blah. But if it's your grandmother, it's like she can't just go out and like find a job. You know, it's harder, right? So you can say, I'm helping my grandmother financially. And so, you know, but I gave her like the money that I needed for my bills. And because I thought I was going to figure it out. So I'm very stressed about that. You never ask him for money. You never tell him like, do this, do that. You just expose the issue. You just expose a problem. And you can say like, you can do reverse psychology as well and be like, oh, but I don't want to like bother you. I don't want to, you know, like, let's say you're out for dinner and you're like, oh, I don't want to talk about this and just ruin our dinner. Like, we're having such a good time right now. I'm having fun, you know, but I guess we can talk about this later, blah, blah, blah. And if, let's say he forgets, right? Because that's how men are. And then, I don't know, he's like, oh, let's do something else later, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, I want to, but I'm like really stressed. Like, I really have to figure out like the issue that I told you with my grandmother. So now the issue, the problem is in between you and him. And if he's masculine, he's gonna naturally be a problem solver. So he's going to give you whatever you need. And if he doesn't do that, move on to the next. He's not sugar daddy material. He's not husband material. He's not a provider material. If a man just like watches you struggle, he doesn't offer solution, money to like do something, he does not love you. Like, he just does not care about you. Actually, he actually enjoys watching you struggle. So if you expose an issue to a man, he doesn't do anything, you can ghost him. Honestly, there's nothing, like, there's not even a conversation to have with him. Like, obviously he doesn't care, so why should you? But yeah, that's it for today's episode. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.